Alright guys, we're back yet again for another movie review. We are finally going to be talking about The Insatiable. Uh, I've seen this movie maybe 2-3 times. I originally saw this, again, if you guys are old enough to remember back in the day, especially when you had cable, Sci-Fi really had a lot of different movies, and it was one of those movies that pretty much came up, and I was like, you know what, let me give it a shot. And it was actually really good. So the entirety of this movie is, we have a character by the name of Harry, who's played by Sean Patrick Flannery, and what happens is, he's kind of one of those guys. He just works an ordinary desk job, and he's kind of a shy person, and he just wants to, live his life, go to his apartment, do whatever. He's just, in all honesty, he's a loser, and he doesn't want to be a loser. And when he goes to his normal guy that, for his grocery store, he starts saying, hey, I got this new girl, she's driving me crazy, and all that. So it's just guy talk. And then within the movie, he comes across to where he sees this unknown woman feeding, and she goes after him, and he's trying to figure out exactly where, what happened, because he sees that she fed on the one that was his friend, and or the grocery store guy that was his friend. So he's like, okay, what the heck's going on? So he starts looking on vampire boards, finds a hunter that is actually in his apartment complex, and they start talking, becoming friends and allies, and he starts teaching him about what happened to him when he was in the military, about that it was someone in, I think, another country. Something happened to where he ended up in a wheelchair. So he starts teaching him about how these vampires are ruthless, they don't care, all this, that, and the other. And he tracks down this vampire. He gathers everything, pretty much lures her in a trap, and he doesn't know what to do with her. He really does not know what to do with her, and with her beauty and everything, very enticing, and she kind of lures him throughout the entirety of the movie. He starts feeding her different types of bunny rabbits, things of that nature, and the hunger is getting too strong for her to where she doesn't know what else to do, and starts begging for a human. And he even gives her one of his co-workers, and then he regrets it, even though the guy was an ass to him. And throughout the entirety of the movie, she just drains him mentally to where he becomes so infatuated with her that he starts gaining a little bit of confidence, but then at the point to where he starts talking to the one that became his friend, and his friend's telling him, you got to get rid of her, because she's going to influence your mind, and she's going to feed on you and kill you or turn you if you wanted. And by the very end of the movie, he just succumbs. I mean, that's the best way to describe it, is he succumbs to the allure of being a vampire and to wanting to become a vampire, because he basically tells her that, guys like me don't get with girls like you, which again, it is really the case, and then she keeps saying that she doesn't want to hurt him, because she actually started to like him, that he actually was a decent guy, that, she kept saying throughout the movie, you just let me go, I won't bother you again, I'll hunt in another city. And then she even offered to turn him, or offered to, be with him, be his girlfriend or whatever, from what I gathered. And by the very end of the movie, he, there's a knock on the door from his other neighbor that he took a shine to, and she didn't like him like that. But then he is like, oh, well, can I come in for, dinner, or whatever the case of it is? And she goes, oh yeah, sure, because now he's got a whole new look. He looks different, he's acting different. And then you see the one that, pretty much turned him, she's right behind him, and they both go in. So you can only imagine what's going to happen. So what I'm thinking is that she turned him because she pretty much fell for him. I mean, in all honesty, she fell for him. And I think that that's what she was wanting, was that deep down she wanted companionship rather than just being, alone for how long, and feeding and all this, that, and the other. And he was alone for so long, and that they both kind of fell for each other without even realizing it. So I will say this, if you're a fan of vampire movies, definitely check this out. It's probably not the best vampire movie, but again, you get this crazy story, and then, you get these actors that you know of, and they do well, and then you forget about it, and there's one day you're like, you know what vampire movie, what horror movie can I watch? And then you remember a movie like this. So if you guys haven't checked this out, definitely check it out, and hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you as always on the next one.